Samsung finally held their Unpacked event where it unveiled their latest flagship for 2019, the Galaxy S10 Plus. And this device looks amazing. I mean, it's so well balanced and feature packed. So, why this device is in trend and what makes this device so perfect for this phase of 2019? Let's find out. Hey, it's Ayan and you're watching One Time Tech.
The first thing I want to talk about this device is its display. The display quality is insane on this device. One of the best displays I've ever seen on a smartphone, which is the most innovating factor of this guy. It has that new Infinity O display with a whole front camera cutout on its front, and it looks really nice to me. It's a lot better than hiding those giant notches which most of the folks used to do for the last few years. The S10 Plus has a 6.4-inch Quad HD Plus dynamic AMOLED screen with a resolution of 1440 by 3040, which gives it an aspect ratio of 19 by 9. The colors are super accurate and vibrant. It's super bright at up to 1200 nits. That's pretty bright. So visibility at direct sunlight will not be an issue. It's quite sharp and crisp. I mean, just have a look. It's so pleasing to look at. The colors are realistic and not muted. The Full HD Plus is turned on by default instead of Quad HD Plus to save the battery, and though most people don't use it all the time. The camera sits in the status bar, so pushing the battery and the SIM card icons towards the center. But if you don't like it, you do have the option to hide the camera cutout as well, which will bring down the size of the display a bit. The next most innovating thing this device has its camera. Samsung has finally gone with a triple camera setup on their newest flagship smartphone. The setup consists of a 12 megapixel f1.9 main camera as well as a 12 megapixel telephoto, which is f2.4. The newest thing is Samsung has finally included a 16 megapixel f2.2 wide angle camera, which impressed most of the customers around the globe. It provides an 123-degree field of view, which is pretty wide. The camera is really dope on this device. The pictures are quite sharp and crisp and captures a lot of details. The dual pixel autofocus is fast. They are pretty well balanced and the dynamic range is fantastic. The low light performance is pretty decent enough, though not as good as Google's night sight. The video recording is great as well. The stabilization is limited only on the main and the telephoto lens and not on the wide angle camera. You can record up to 4K at 30 fps through the rear camera. The device is also HDR10 Plus compatible, which is viewable only on HDR10 compatible devices. The front camera is pretty good as well. The main camera is a 10 megapixel f1.9 and a 8 megapixel depth sensor. Well, many of us expected the secondary sensor on the front to be a wide angle lens, but sadly that's just a normal 8 megapixel depth sensor for portrait shots. You can record videos at 4K at 30 fps as well. So the camera performance on this device is really great, though Pixel 3 still has the trophy for the best camera performer, but that's not a deal breaker at all and is still worth it. This time Samsung has done a pretty great job with both of its hardware and software. The previous software was buggy and used to become slow over time. But this time, with the newest generation interface, the One UI, which you already have seen running on Samsung's previous best flagship smartphone, the Note 9, the things have changed a lot. The One UI runs flawlessly on these devices. Samsung has improved the performance and stability of the interface with most of its updates. Look-wise, I feel the UI is pretty minimalistic and requires a bit of tweaks and customizations. Samsung should also work on those full-screen navigation gestures and should implement it fully. But apart from all its downsides, it's one of the best custom UI after Oxygen OS. It's fast and smooth and can handle any task. In terms of hardware, the device feels very premium to hold. The glass back is protected by a Gorilla Glass 5 with a triple camera setup and the heart rate and the SO2 sensor. The hybrid SIM slot sits on top, which supports microSD card up to 512 gigs. That's a plenty of storage. The power button sits on the left and the volume button and the Bixby button on the right, which finally can now be remapped. The speaker grill, the Type-C and the headphone jack on the bottom of the phone. The front display is protected by Gorilla Glass 6. There is a hole punched camera cutout at the top, which gives this device a 90% screen to body ratio. There is a tiny small sized speaker on the top which is loud enough. The device is powered by the Exynos 9820 octa-core chipset, which runs on 8nm architecture, paired with up to 12 gigs of RAM and 1 TB of storage. You get 3 color options with the 128GB model and a ceramic black version with the 512 gigs and a porcelain white with the highest end model. We get an outstanding software and hardware experience from the phone and it's worth every penny. The last but not the least thing I want to talk about is the battery and the awesome extra features it has. Well, starting with the battery, it has a 4100 mAh of battery. The battery life is too good on this device. It can easily last a full day without having to worry about the amount of juice left in it. If you are a heavy user and multitask and play heavy graphic intensive games a lot like PUBG, well, you may need to top it up in the evening, but apart from all these, the battery life is pretty well balanced and impressive. The S10 line has wireless charging 2.0 compatibility, which allows your device to charge faster. But the most talked feature is the wireless power share, which converts the back of your phone as a wireless charging pad. It's not a feature which will be used frequently, but the real advantage of this will go to wireless earbuds. If you have an earbud running out of battery, like while traveling, you can turn that feature on and boom, you're good to go. The next most important feature is the ultrasonic in-display fingerprint scanner, which uses sound waves and a 3D sensor to detect fingerprints. And from its usage, it's not as convenient as real capacitive sensors, and sometimes it simply struggles to detect our fingers. In terms of face unlock, Samsung opted not to use a 3D Face ID like the iPhones. There have been many controversies going on regarding the Face ID, like the phone can be unlocked using the user's picture on another phone or someone else's picture, etc. So I would not recommend not to use it as your daily unlocking process. So you are getting as you would get from a flagship device in 2019. It offers a great value for money with a flagship performance, gorgeous display, a decent camera, a good battery life and some amazing features. Now the question is, do you really need to upgrade? Well, if you are having a Note 9 or S9 Plus or the regular S9, I don't think you really need to upgrade. But You will notice a major change if you are coming from S8 or some old flagship device. So that was it for today's video. If you like this, do give it a thumbs up and subscribe my channel. Well, thanks a lot for watching and catch you guys on the next one. Peace.